Friends, I've had a number of people ask me to do an update to my series on learning Premiere Pro since it's 2017 version now. This is the end of November, almost December 2016 as I'm making these videos. And folks, I have my own way of teaching Premiere Pro, and I'm a little slower paced than most people, so if you're looking for somebody to just rip roars through things, then go to another place. We will move swiftly and purposefully, but we will not go crazy fast. I want to make sure people get the basics down for what we're going to do. But let me just go ahead and launch Premiere Pro. And we're going to get started. These will be short videos. I'll be breaking them up into a lot of different videos so that you can go specifically to the ones that you need to see. It may take me several months to cover the entirety of Premiere Pro, but we're taking this from the assumption that you're a beginner. So first thing you do when you launch Premiere Pro, you're going to see something like this. And you're going to have new project, open project, all these different things here. Typically you're going to go and do new project. And it's going to ask you where you're going to want to put this project. Now I don't want it to go in this, I don't want to. You might want to go in this document right, or this folder right here. I want it to go up here on this extreme drive up here. So that's where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to browse to this. And we're going to go over here. Now I'm using a Mac, and I'm also equally as adept on a PC, so I'll try to remember. I mean, it'll be very similar. Command on a Mac will be, what would that be? Control on a PC. So here I'm going to go here into the extreme. I'm going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this Premiere Learning. Creating my folder. I'm going to choose that folder, and that's where this is going to go. Now this is just telling it where it's going to go. We're going to call this Premiere Lessons. So this is where we actually title it. Now all the rest of this really doesn't matter so much. This Mercury playback engine and all here, this will depend on what kind of setup your computer has, what kind of graphics card it has, how much RAM it has, or there are a number of things that can affect what this is. I just typically leave it exactly what it is. It seems like usually the computer knows what you have, and so if you have a very powerful computer, it will pick the most powerful option. I'm going to say OK, and then we're going to end up with something like this. Now, I will go ahead and tell you now that I use typically an old school layout. And this is what I still don't think they've ever surpassed editing CS 5.5. Now you may not by default come up looking this way. You may come up looking a different way. And, workspaces. Under window workspaces, yours might be the default one, like it's probably editing here. It probably looks more like this. I'm here to tell you I don't so much like this one as much as I do this one. So if you're going to follow me, just there, I'll give you a link to where you can get this particular workspace. And this is the workspace that was generally used up until, probably the 2015 version. And they started using a new workspace. It might have been 2014 at some point. But this to me is really nice because this makes sense. This is where the media goes. Here's where some of your little effects rest. This is your preview window. And this over here is what you're working on. And down here is your sequence. This is where we actually do a whole lot of editing and we create the timeline and stuff. Now by default it comes up and there's nothing in there. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to import some media. Now there's several ways you can import media. You can go File and you can go Import, and you'll be able to do it the same way on a PC. It's going to be probably Control-I, I think, rather than Command-I. But you're going to either import or you just double click in here, and that's usually what I do. So I'm going to kind of tell you the fast way that I do things. And I'm going to go pick a few bits of video. And I'm going to be working with a lot of 4K video. So I'm hoping that this is going to work okay. I don't think I'm going to use that one though. Let's go to this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and import. These are actually both, I think this might be just a teaser for this larger video. But I'm going to import, this is a 4K bit of video, it's 3.38 gigs, and I've got a Facebook video that's only 80 megs. And so we'll probably, I'll just show you how versatile this is. I'm going to go ahead and hold not my shift key, my bad. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to hold my command key down, or your control key, I guess, for using a PC. We're going to import these. So these are two pieces of video that are totally different size. You can see they're both the same frame rate, 23,976, 24p is what it is. And you can get a lot of data about your video up here if you pull this out. And you can move these things around, media duration, if you want to go one in front of the other or whatever like that. You can pull these windows out and see what's all in here. And it tells you here, I've got 720p. If I want to pull video info over here, we can see it. That might be the best thing to do. So I've got some 720p video, and I've got some 4K video. So hopefully the Camtasia software that I'm using to record this will function. Premiere uses a lot of space, so my apologies if the screen recording doesn't work exactly right all the time. The first thing, I'm going to make a decision, what do I want to do? Do I want to do 4K video? Do I want to do something smaller than that? Do I want to do 720p? Do I want to do 1080p? So what I'm going to do, you can go up here and do File, New, Sequence. As you see here, Command N or Control N, we should do the same thing on the PC. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, or you can right click, I'm going to let you know, so you can do right click and you can do New Sequence. You just right click inside here, New Sequence. Either way, whatever way you like to do it, I usually do it that way by right clicking in there. And since I know I'm 24p and 1080p, I might go ahead and just select that for now. I'm going to do 1080p, even though I have different sized videos. I'm going to show you what you can do with this. We're going to say OK. So now I have a sequence. You notice this pops up down here, and now I've got timeline. And I can see if I pull this little thing here, this little, I don't know what this is called. Actually, it's a cursor type thing, I guess, is what I always call it. Now, I've been using Premiere Pro since 1996. I don't know what some of these things are called. I just know how they work. So there you go. This, as you see, advances you through the video. So this will tell you how far you are in time, minutes and seconds and frames. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my Lake Roadhiss video up here. I'm going to double click on it. And what's going to happen, you're going to see it pop up over here. So here is this 4K video. Now I can, if I want to look at these windows, I can resize this stuff to make one bigger or smaller. Here's a tip I'll just keep reminding you of from time to time. If you want to really look at a video up close, you can click on, you make sure you get this, see this blue right here? That means you've got this window selected. If I click over here, I've got this window selected. I got blue around. If I click on the timeline, I got that selected. Anything you want to look at any time, you can click on it and you can hit the tilde key. That's the little cursor thing that looks like this, right? It looks like a little wave. And usually it's in the upper left-hand side of your either PC or your Mac. So I'm gonna click on this, I'm gonna hit tilde, and you'll see that it allows you then to preview everything. You can look at your video really up close if you want to see what it looks like. Kind of cool, isn't it? I'm gonna hit tilde again to get out of that. Anytime you want a close-up look at anything to see what's really there up close and you don't like your preview, then just tilde into it and then tilde back out. So now we've imported a couple bits of video. Let me go ahead and import one other piece of video, maybe something else here. Let's see, I'm going back to Extreme 500. Okay, I'm going to go into my coolest thing about Mavic Pro video and I'm going to import that. So I'm doing some drone videos here lately. So here what I have, this is shot, this is actually 1920 by 1080. So I want you to see that I can pull in basically any size of video I want to. Now this sequence, we made it a 1920 by 1080 sequence. So there's nothing in there yet, but we have three different video sources. One is 720p, one is 4K, one is 1920 by 1080. So what I want to show you is if we pull a bit of, let's go ahead and look at a little bit of this. This is just me showing how you can fit a Mavic Pro into a small bag, which is kind of cool. So I've double clicked on the video and it pops up in this. This is the preview window. This is where we preview our video. And let's say that I decide I want to start showing from this point right here. I don't want any of this before this. What you do, I'm going to click the mark in. If you just hover over any of these buttons down here, it'll tell you what they are. And so these are how you add markers. We'll talk about that later, but generally what we're going to do a mark in, right? Okay, so now you see what's happened here. This all turned gray. It means everything that's gray here is still part of the video. If I were to pull this video down onto this timeline, every single bit of this would be there. All this before it would not be there. Now, it's all totally non-destructive. If you decide you want to come back here and click in, then there you go, you do that. But I'm going to go here, I'm going to pick it right about here where I'm starting to maybe unzip this bag or open this bag up, okay? So I'm going to click Mark In. I'm going to preview it for a second. Let's just watch a little of it. I can fit the Mavic Pro in there, got my cable. Can easily put my controller in there. Okay, I'm going to stop at that point. Now I'm going to mark out. I want to use that small bit of video. Now there are 3 ways you can pull video down in here to get started. You can either grab the video from up here and pull it down, and look what happens. It pulls in this is the video. It shows the eyeball here. This eyeball means this is video. V1 means video 1. You can have as many tracks as you want to of video. You can have 15 tracks of video on top of 15 tracks of audio. Doesn't matter. Premiere is very powerful that way. And this is audio. Now, well, we have a short clip, and look how tiny it is here. We've got this tiny little bit of workspace here. You see these little circles down here on the bottom? These allow you to zoom in. So I'm going to grab this one over here on the far right, and I'm going to pull it in, and now I can see better what I'm dealing with on the timeline. So I just showed you how to pull video and audio down just by grabbing here and pulling down, right? That pulls down the video and the audio. Now there may be instances where you don't, well, what I just did, I just selected those and I deleted just so you'll know. There may be instances where you don't want to have the audio. You might just want the video. There might be instances you just want the audio and not the video. So if you want to pull just the video down, you do this right here. This thing is drag video only. See, it gives you little shortcuts there that show you everything. This is honestly it's a very feature-rich program, but it's not a super hard program. So now I've got the video and have no audio. Conversely, if I want to pull audio down, I can get down to audio 1. You see, it won't let you drop the audio on the video. You have to come down here to where audio is. So if you're trying to bring audio down, stop in here. It'll give you that little no, you can't do it type symbol there. But there's my audio. And you can just zoom on in here if you want to look really close at anything. And there's ways to even zoom beyond where we are here. I won't show you that right now though. But so I'm going to delete this again. All I'm doing, of course, I'm just dragging over it, or you could just click on it and then hit the delete key and it deletes it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the audio and video down. By doing that, you just grab inside the video here and pull it down, and you got both of those. So now I've got 1080p video. It's 1920 by 1080 in a 1920 by 1080 sequence. Now, if I want to use a bit of this 4K video, which is huge, it's 4 times the size of 1080p, I can still double click on it and I can preview the video. I can say, okay, wow, here's Lake Road Hiss. Let me pull forward a little bit. Where do I want to be? Now, this is again, this kind of pentagonal type thing here shows you where you are in the bit of video, right? You could go back to the very beginning and do that. You could pull yourself up here. You can click this, step back 1 frame at a time if you want to go back just a frame at a time. You can go back to your first end, and it depends on where you set your end. All these will give you the hints of what you can do with each of these things. You can also insert video that way too. I typically don't do it. I typically just drag it down. So I'm going to pull forward here where I've just got a nice little shot. I don't want to see all that stuff on that dock. I'll start from here and we'll play a little bit of it. Now this is back a week and a half or so ago. That was where all the fires were going on. I'm talking about some fires going on back in here. So, well, I don't particularly like that clip. Let's go forward. Okay, let's use this one over the bridge, maybe. Let's do this one. I'll come in from here. Pilings there for the, or supports for the old bridge before they tore it down and made the new one. I'm not sure how old that bridge is. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to click my out. I'm going to pull this bit of video down. And so now here it is, 4K video. And look how much larger it is. It totally does. That means that video is sticking way on the outside of this. It's in a 1080 hole, right? 1080p, but it's 4K video. Now, if I want to use this 4K video and make it work in the 1080p hole, I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to go to Effects Control up here. This thing at this tab that says Effects Control. You'll use this a whole lot. Just remember it's there. And you can scale your video. Now, if you want to, you can just hover over this. You can click on it and pull it. And it's supposed to work, and it does. To me, it's a little aggravating. Now, I use that sometimes. Most of the times, I'll just go over here, and it's called twirling down the little arrow, and then it brings up a really nice little circle thing where you can drag and you can slide this thing any way you want to do it. And I just happen to know that 50% fills up the screen. Typically it does. 50% is what 4K size down to 50% will fit in 1080p. So I got it 50.1. But the thing is, since I'm using 4K video, I can really zoom in on things if I want to. I got a whole lot of space. So I might decide I want it to be on 61%. But I kind of like that less sky and more water. So this is cool. You got your positioning right up here. This left one lets you go left and right. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a twirl down for the position. You actually have to. They forced you to put your finger thing over that and hover and then left click and pull left or right. So say I like it pulled this way. I've just repositioned that video. Let's say I want to show more of the water, less of the sky. I'm going to pull this one and pull it up. Now yeah, I can go left or right. I can go off the screen, and see it goes off the screen there and you just got black. But maybe that right there is what I really am looking for in that shot. And I can zoom in even more. So let's say I really want this. I can zoom on in a little bit more. You can still reposition a little bit more. I say that's really what I'm looking for. So now I have made this 4K bit of video work for me, and it segues from there to there. So this is why a lot of people shoot 4K video now. They can bring it into 1080p video. A lot of people shoot 4K, I do, with the intent that I might want to reframe it. And so the 4K gives me a whole lot of latitude so that I can bring it into a 1080p, which is what most people still mostly watch, and I can reframe it any way I want to. And so lastly, and for this bit of this, we'll go on to another section, I'm going to go do this for Facebook. Here's my little teaser video that I did on Facebook. Now this is much smaller, it's 1280, it's 720p. Let's say I want to use this little fly in here, this little approach, or back off, whatever. I'll use this bit right here. We're going to go in, and we're going to go forward. And we'll use that much of it. Now, what you're going to see here when I pull this video in is that it's smaller than the screen. Now sometimes you might have to use a bit of video that is smaller. And can you blow it up? Yes, of course you can. We're going to click on that one. We're going to go to Effects Control, and we're going to hit Scale again. You can go here, you can pull up beyond that. I think if you twirl it down here, it doesn't allow you to see it. It's going to stop you at 100. This might be another instance where you don't twirl it down. You just right click on it, or excuse me, left click on it and just drag this. So you can blow it up. And listen, it does a pretty good job. 720p blown up to 1080p doesn't look bad. It's not ideal to do that. You're just making pixels larger. So it might be a little blurrier, but I just wanted you to know that you can do that. Now, one thing that I will do sometimes with 720p video, I'm going to go back to 100%, is say I want to use it in a frame and I want to put some titles or something out the side of it. I might pull it left or right, and I might put it up here and have my video up here. Then I might have information about what we're watching on the left or right. And we're going to talk about how to do that in some upcoming videos. So folks, this is the end of part 1. We're going to start part 2, and you can just click on that. I will have the links for all of these videos in the description of this video.